Next theory, I have symbolic interaction, interactionist theory. This theory actually is very interesting for me, and they are viewing education as a kind of the way that labeling theory can be seen in action. Uh, Theorists in this field might say that this labeling has a direct correlation to those who are in power and those who are labeled. For example, low standardized test scores or poor performance in special class often result to student, for example, who is labeled as a low achiever. Such labels are difficult to change during time, which can create a thing that Merton mentioned, a self-fulfilling prophecy. We mentioned it in the conflict theory as well. So as a result of such a self-fulfilling prophecy, the outcome might be quite predictable, and it can be something that we can prevent. In a book, the book name is High School Confidential. Jeremy Everson wrote it. He mentioned his experience as a Stanford graduate and also a student at a California high school. One of the problems he mentioned in his research is that teachers applying labels that the students are never able to lose. And one teacher told him, for example, without knowing he was a bright graduate of a top university, that he would never reach anything. He will become nobody. Everson obviously didn't take his teacher's false assessment to personally, but when an actual 17 years old, imagine 15 years old student hears such a thing from a person with authority over them, it's kind of no wonder that that students might begin to live down to that label. And I think it's quite common, unfortunately, between traditional teachers to call students names and label them as smart student or stupid student. And I've had a teacher that she told me, a lot of teachers actually told me, you will reach nowhere, you will become nobody, you will never go to university. And if I wanted to take it too personally, I would never achieve anything I achieved today. So this is a personal experience. Is there anything similar for you in education? Did you face such a terrible teacher in your school time?
No, from me, no.
Oh, you're lucky. Maybe you were smart.
No.
No. Were you a good student?
No.
No?
I failed in math.
Only mathematics. Come on, I failed most of my courses. Okay. Regarding this labeling, I think the symbolic interactionism focus on kind of different degrees that symbolize completion of education. For example, there is a term called credentialism that it shows the importance of certificates or degrees to show that, for example, a person has a certain skill and has achieved a certain level of education, or for example, has achieved a certain job qualification. These kind of certificates or degrees actually serve as a symbol of what a person has achieved, letting them to have this kind of a label of that individual to be based on a kind of recognized sequential program of instructions. It's like a person get a degree just to have label for that. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. So as these examples, I think, show labeling theory can shows the impact students schooling can have on them. This is very easy to see in any educational setting that teachers and more powerful social groups within the schools can create such labels and are adopted actually by the larger school populations and result in unfortunately negative and bigger repercussions.